For millennia, death has been the final, terrifying frontier. A doorway in which all enter but cannot return. But what if something found its way back through the door? What if, through an act of sheer will, the dead could return? This idea was pushed further into the public consciousness in 1818 with the release of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. In this novel, its main character, Victor, obsessed with alchemy and the forces beyond our understanding, employs scientific experimentation to essentially reanimate a corpse, creating a homicidal monster in the process. This book was released in a time of scientific awakening, coming out of generations ruled by theological and occult superstitions. Having had this desire to explore the unknown for so long, it shouldn't be any surprise that we've tried to apply these spiritual concepts onto modern-day civilization and modern-day technology. Unnatural or not, science can be used as a tool to serve our will. It is, however, only natural to grieve a loved one. But what lengths are some people willing to go to feel that person's presence again, to see their face one last time? We also should consider the motivations of Victor Frankenstein, which are the same motivations of many scientists today, to understand what lies in the great beyond, things we were never meant to understand, but can't help but use science and technology to try to bring the dead back to life.
Bringing people back from the dead may seem like something you'd only see in horror movies, and these attempts usually result in something less than holy. Remember this kid? But later this year, researchers from BioCryst, a company based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, hope to do just that. Now, although their process does not involve any dark magic spells, vampire blood, or a pet cemetery, this study is still extremely controversial because, well, this isn't Final Fantasy, and bringing people back from the dead with a Phoenix Down type formula just isn't done. Basically, this trial will inject stem cells into the spinal cords of people who are declared brain dead, as well as deploy lasers and nerve stimulation techniques with the hopes of creating new neurons, and that these neurons will grow and connect to each other, thus restart the brain and bringing the patient back to life.
So what happens is you could take any person, present or past. If you wanted to talk to Aristotle, if you wanted to talk to me, right? You're probably going to have a much better conversation with me because I have left more of an electronic path of my life and my writings and everything I've done on the internet, which stays there forever, right? Aristotle wasn't quite around then, but he did have some books. So we'd basically be able to recreate him as a chatbot that could talk just to his books, where a chatbot made of me would have my whole life experiences that you could talk about. You could also do let's say you are getting up in age and the end is near. You can actually train a chatbot yourself. So your inflections of voice, gestures, facial expressions, all this stuff can be taken by the chatbot and put into its program, so to speak. And it's one of those things, the more data we can get into the chatbot about you, the better it's going to be. It is that basically you revive dead loved ones. I also read during this that Kanye bought Kim a holograph of her father that could talk for like 5 minutes.
Happy birthday, Kimberly. Look at you. You're 40 and all grown up. You look beautiful, just like when you were a little girl. I watch over you and your sisters and brother and the kids every day. You are the most amazing mother to your 4 beautiful children, and they are perfect. Keep doing what you're doing, Kimberly. You are a beautiful soul.
All right, Microsoft has patented new technology that would let you talk to dead people. Sort of. Microsoft developers creating a tool that would make it possible to have a virtual conversation with a chatbot, resembling deceased loved ones or historical figures. Looking for guidance from a late grandparent, or want to discuss the Gettysburg Address with Abraham Lincoln? Theoretically, it could be possible with Microsoft's technology. According to this patent, the tool would cull social data, like letters, images, messages, and social media posts from that chosen individual. And then that information would be used to train the chatbot to interact like that person.
Welcome to the Alcor Life Extension Foundation, the self-proclaimed world leader in cryonics. For just under $250,000, Alcor is selling a second chance at life. The Alcor team looks after nearly 200 people who are waiting to take that second chance. One small catch: every person preserved here has been pronounced clinically dead. But to Alcor, that's just a technicality.
Our best estimates are that within 50 to 100 years, we will have the medical technologies needed to restore our patients to health and function.
The team at Alcor refers to its customers as patients, and just like patients in a hospital, Alcor hopes that in the future, they'll be restored to full health. When they arrive, each body or patient, depending on how you look at it, goes through a technical process to increase their chances of survival on the other side. They're treated with chemicals and drugs, carefully cooled, lowered into a giant steel vat of liquid nitrogen, and stored at minus 196 degrees Celsius, all in the hope that one day they will live again. Alcor's offices are simple enough, but in the middle of this building is possibly the strangest and most unsettling thing I've ever seen. A field of stainless steel tanks holding the bodies and heads of 170 dead people, frozen in stasis.
How many people in each one of these?
Each one of these has approximately 9 patients, 4 whole body patients around the outside, and then there's a stack in the middle which holds 5 neuro patients.
Yes, neuro patients. People who elected just to preserve their heads. Not only is it less expensive, it also saves on space.
I think the future is going to be kinder and gentler than the present. Cryonics is another medical procedure as far as I'm concerned. We keep the person in storage as long as necessary. I'm thinking that within 50 to 100 years, people will start being recovered from this process. People will be rejuvenated to a youthful condition and any disease they had cured. These are people who say heaven can wait. They want a little bit more life here on Earth before moving on to something else. I'm Ben Best. I'm 64 years old. I'm president, CEO of the Cryonics Institute. Our membership is growing. It's growing steadily. We have 95 people who are currently in storage. We're classified as a cemetery, but I'd like to think of us as being more like a hospital, caring for patients. That's what we call them, patients who are metabolically challenged. We offer storage of tissue, DNA, storage of pets. This is our pet cooling box. We have 64 pets, almost all of them are cats and dogs. This is the human cooling box, same basic principle, except it's a lot larger. When we get patients, the point is to cool down as quickly as possible after pronouncement of death. Do chest compressions to keep the circulation going. In the funeral home, the funeral director does surgery and trying to clean out any blood or sedimentation that's in the blood vessels. We try to put antifreeze solution into the body water. And then they're brought over here to our facility. That's when they go into the cooling box, which cools them from just below ice water temperature down to liquid nitrogen temperature. They're wrapped in the sleeping bag and tied to a backboard, and the patient in the sleeping bag goes in one of these cryostats with their head down. There are a lot of people who seem to think that what we're doing is sacrilegious. There's a great deal of contempt for what we do. A lot of people, they just don't get it. There's some 11th commandment in the Bible that says, thou shalt not freeze.
Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody's in a hurry to get there.
We'll wrap our list of AI immortality with our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. The Gipper recently got the hologram treatment, so visitors to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library can hear what he was like on the campaign trail.
Let's start with the record in the period between 1976 and 1980.
Artists, pop stars, and presidents living on through holograms.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Another method scientists could potentially use to restore life to the dead comes via cloning. The first major study of cloning is usually attributed to the German scientist Hans Driesch around the year 1885. But since then, scientists have become increasingly engaged with the concept, famously achieving the first successful clone of a mammal from an adult cell in 1996 with the birth of Dolly the sheep. And science didn't stop there. More recently, there was a successful attempt to clone an endangered species, the U.S. black-footed ferret. The cloned ferret was born on December 10, 2020, and named Elizabeth Ann. She had been cloned from a ferret that had previously died more than 30 years earlier in the mid-1980s. Theoretically, then, the science used to bring Dolly and Elizabeth Ann into modernity should be transferable to human beings, which means that genetic clones of dead people should be possible too.
Alright, you know who that is? I don't think you're expecting what you're about to see.
Oh God, it's like seeing him alive again.
It really is. And I've never got to see him alive before, so it's like seeing him for the first time.
Just stop your crying, it's almost like you brought my daddy alive again for a while, puppy. You look pretty good down here. Have you used my mom's picture? Really good. She might start talking to you.
Liable to reach through and slap me. You ready?
Yeah. It's amazing, kid.
I completely understand the desire to want to preserve the memory of a loved one. But the direction that we're headed, to me, is unnatural and spiritually dangerous. But let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like the content, please hit like, subscribe, and share with anyone you think might enjoy it. It means a lot.